Oh, totally.
I mean, well, first of all, keeping up with you, Denker, is just, I mean, it's a
It's
magical
been a busy month,
experience.
to say the least. It's been a busy month. Yes. Right.
How are you feeling?
I'm doing okay. I can just so I don't know if you saw me, but I fell the day before I was supposed to race Baja.
Yeah.
I fell off the back of my pickup truck and broke a rib.
How did you?
Like,
I don't know what I should ask. Like, how did you?
As my son says, it was an OT moment. He calls me OT. My son calls me OT. What's up, OT? Can I help, OT? How you feeling, OT? Right, old timer. So so it was an OT moment, and I slipped and fell off the back of my pickup truck. I fell right onto the corner of the house. Wham, bang! Like I was standing up on the tailgate, and I fell down. Right.
Wait. So did you fall off the tailgate or over the side of the bed?
No, off the tailgate. Okay. I was trying to step off the tailgate, and I missed the thing that I was stepping on. There was like a little planter that I was using to get it.
Why would you use the planter? I mean, of course I would use the planter.
Because he's OT. Because he's OT.
Instead of the corner of the bumper, I was using the planter, and I missed the planter, and I literally fell backwards and slammed into the corner of the house and was like, oh, and totally broke a rib. I thought I might be able to muscle through it, so I actually went later that day to the qualifying lap and did 2 laps with in the race car with the qualifying, and I could barely get out of the thing. I could barely get out of the thing. Yeah.
You're lucky you broke a rib, man. That could have been a little gnarly.
Yeah. So luckily I was in Mexico where I was able to go get self-medicate, I should say, right, without prescriptions, right?
I didn't know where that was going. I didn't know. There were so many different avenues.
Yeah, and then I got a X-ray because I could barely get out of bed the next day. So as my son is getting ready to race in my place, which he did, which is cool, I'm trying to get out and I'm trying to go to the doctor, and I go get an X-ray. Which I finally meandered through with Google Translate. Got an X-ray, cost me $19 to get an X-ray.
That's awesome.
It was big. And then it's funny because she's like, well, that's gonna, she basically said through Google Translate it's gonna be $350. And I'm like, wow, $350, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, pesos. And I'm like, oh, well, it's not even like $20. I was like, sweet.
Take 2.
Funny, but she gives me the X-ray. I go lay on the table, do the thing. She gives me the X-ray. She just gives it to me. She's like, here you go. I was like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm not a radiologist.
Like, oh yeah, right there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, oh yeah. My 7th grade health class. Now I know what I'm looking at. Anyway,
no, it's upside down. Oh yeah, of course it is.
Fun times.
Good times. But that's funny to see Charlie step in and step up.
Yeah, stepped up
back to the race.
In our class. It was badass. It was awesome.
Are you gonna get your seat back? It seems like you've lost your seat.
Well, it's I know. Now we're negotiating, like, hey, when we go down, next year, how about you do 2 or 3 stages? I'll do 2 or 3 stages. I'm like, oh God, okay.
That's how it starts. Next thing you know, you're going to be looking for a ride. You're going to be, calling up sponsors like, hey, you have an open seat for me?
Yeah, I got booted by my kid. Right. Mm-hmm. So, and then I was able to jaunt over. I flew. So the race is from like San Diego to Cabo. I got to Cabo, did the whole thing, and I literally flew directly from Cabo to Sydney, Australia, because I didn't even go home. Took all my Baja gear with me in an extra bag. Went to Sydney, Australia for the AWS Summit. And so I was in the AWS Summit, Australia, which was pretty awesome.
Was it good? Was it a good?
It was a good summit. We ended up having what?
I was just gonna say, by the way, did you say you took a jaunt over? Did I hear you just pun intended? JAUNT?
I took a jaunt over.
Anyway,
that is kind of funny because I've never actually tied that one together. Yes.
Anyway, sorry I interrupted. That humored me though.
No, it was good. It was good. Yeah, it was.
So how
It
was
was
the AWS Summit, and how are things in ANZ
I tell you, man,
with
Australia is
Marketplace?
like yearning for cloud go-to-market stuff for sure. I saw a couple friendly faces. Saw Mike Musselman over there. That was fun. I saw Josh Green from Okta. He was in there. Saw a couple other folks. But what was really interesting is all of our tier one ISVs, when you think of like Salesforce, Datadog, CrowdStrike, all these big, huge companies, we ended up having a customer advisory board over there that AWS helped us put together, which was great. So we had like 20 companies in the room for like half the day. It was like the day after the summit. So it'd be like the Thursday, and like it was from like 8 to noon. And we ended up having like 20 people in the room talking all about APJ stuff. We didn't bring any of the global. So like Josh Green didn't come and Musselman didn't come because we wanted just APJ representatives from all these tier one companies. But it was amazing how they shared ideas, how they like, we're struggling with this. They're way more into channel stuff, MSOR, DSOR, all that. They have currency issues, like things that we kind of pay attention to a little bit here. Like, kind of like it's like crucial to their business there, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have to have great listings for all the different countries, and they have to manage all those different things. Like
Some
here,
taxes.
North America is like one gigantic place with one big currency. You kind of
Taxes are in that same bucket of challenges.
Well, they're all different. Yeah, we have one tax structure. We have one. It's relatively. So it was cool though. It was really fun. I mean, just getting the feedback, meeting everybody. We're actually creating like a little forum where these APJ folks can actually talk themselves and do things, which is cool. So it was just fun. There's a lot of there's very little support for Marketplace over an APJ. Like there's like the AWS person, they had a small MDM team, Marketplace Development Manager team over there, and that got let go in January. So there's like nobody dedicated to Marketplace in the entire APJ team.
AWS is gutted in that sense, even from like a PDM standpoint. Like you have to be really clear to keep that ratio down and even get someone that's dedicated to you.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because I think what you're saying is like there's like that marketplace team, that marketplace specialist team is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Totally gone. What was really interesting to me too, and I blame myself for this as well, is we had big companies, Iron Mountain and other folks. We did like a full demo of the Tackle platform, showed all the cool stuff we're doing with data and how it plugs into Salesforce and how we tied all. And there are people. These are all customers. I wasn't selling to anybody. Everybody in the room was already a Tackle customer, and half the people in the room were like, "What is that? I've never seen that before. Like, we have access to that. I can use that." And then they all go back to their global counterparts, and they're like, "How come I don't have that? Why don't I have the Tackle pane in my Salesforce? Like, what's the deal? Like, how come I don't have the panel? Where is it? Just all that crazy stuff." So.
Wait, are you thinking that's like an enablement thing? Is that like a CS thing, or is that just the fact that they are so far to like the right or left of the mothership that they just don't see that kind of stuff?
That I think it's the latter. It's not like on purpose, but we just there's some of it's technical. There's a few folks that I've found out since have had like geo fences on their Salesforce stuff where they don't let all these other things come in, right? So there's some of that stuff. There's just we have coaches. Every one of these customers is coached too, because they're all big tier one customers of ours. So they all have coaches. And nobody knew who the coach was. Like, raise your hand if you interact with the Tackle coach. And they're like, "What's a Tackle coach?" I'm like,
"Oh, interesting."
It's like we don't create global business plans. We just don't like. It was a real good learning experience for us to be like, "Holy crap!"
So I'm curious, how come you were there? Was it a Tackle business unit decision? Was it App Direct saying, "Hey, we want you guys to lean in or get more visibility into APJ directly"?
We're looking to expand. We're kind of developing an international strategy this year. Now that we're part of AppDirect, and AppDirect has 1,500 people worldwide, like they have 2 employees in Australia. And so we're like, okay, well, these people can maybe be like initial folks to help out on the Tackle side. We can enable them, right? They have folks all over EMEA. They have folks in Munich and London. So we're talking about like, how would we support, the EMEA region as well, right? And how do we place somebody over there? So it's just part of our kind of international strategy a bit is to figure out, what we can do. And AWS loved it. AWS is like, well, they literally said like, so when are we going to run a customer advisory board like this in EMEA? I'm like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out straight, but they were so excited. They're like, we need to do the exact same thing. Right. So, yeah. So it was cool. Australia was fun. I mean, I laugh because a little bit of, shit, man, it feels like you're in Boston. You're on the harbor. There's sailboats all over. Everybody speaks English. It's like a very safe, cool town. You're walking around Sydney, quaint, whatever. I feel like I'm sitting in Seaport, Boston, except days are nights and nights are days. So I can't talk to anybody, like that's the biggest problem.
Just don't call it Little Boston. I don't think they appreciate that.
They probably don't appreciate it. Right? All right. So it was, but it was fun. It was an extremely comfortable place to go for a week. Like it didn't feel even all that foreign, So,
yeah. Actually, it lines up really, really well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So when I joined, you guys are going to the New York Summit then in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's the
Is
next
that what
big
you were
one.
saying?
Yeah.
They moved it up a month because of the World Cup. So it's January 5th or June 15th instead of July. Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah.
Anybody going to Build that you know of next week? Like Microsoft Build, I know it's something we never did. That's the Microsoft's developer conference.
What's Microsoft?
Exactly. Easy.
Sorry.
Our audience is multi-cloud. We love them all.
We love all of our children the same.
We love all of our children the same.
Yeah. No, I say that because it's one, Denker, this was one where way back in the day, 2018 maybe even, or early 2019, when I first started meeting up with the tackle guys. They were all guys. No, they weren't all guys at that point. But anyways, it was at Microsoft Build in May in Seattle. So that was a developer conference. And that's where I kind of came in and just, hung out with you guys. It was opportunistic because I think it was also during some meetings that you guys were having with Microsoft.
Maybe in Chicago or something.
Well, this was, 2019. This was in Seattle at the time.
Seattle, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll do Inspire for sure, which is the week before Thanksgiving, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll do that for sure. That's always the place to go. And then, but
that's more the partner one, and the Build is all AI. So I'm going to be joining that one next week in San Francisco, which it's not a huge, it's Moscone thing, so it's not as like it
is
when
in
Salesforce,
is it or not?
It's not Moscone. Yeah, it's not.
Oh, it's just in a single hotel.
It's larger than that. It's actually what is it? Armory Park. It's near the bridge, kind of closer to Fisherman's Wharf. I haven't been to that area for a conference, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, me neither. That'll be interesting. Yeah, for sure.
That's super interesting. I don't think I've ever been to San Francisco for a conference and not been in Moscone. Like they're always in
Moscone. Right. Yeah. Salesforce, Oracle,
Dreamforce.
Yeah.
I mean, it just takes over the city when those megas come into San Francisco. Like this one, I was like, wow, I can actually find a hotel room for under $1,000 during a conference week.
I'll tell you what, it does feel better to have a little bit of to be in San Francisco or Seattle, comparatively speaking, to Vegas, because I'm just over the everything is in Vegas. I mean, I get it, I understand it, but it's just,
dude. Right before Baja, I did back-to-back weeks in Vegas, and it was a burn, man.
Oh, like because it was the channel event.
It was the channel partners, which was like Monday through Thursday. I flew home Friday. I flew back out Monday morning for Google Next. And then it was at Google Next Monday through Thursday again. I was like, oh my gosh, I am so tired of this, right?
Because that's where I saw you, in that weird minibar area.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a blip as we were flying by. Yeah.
Totally. Hey, see you online later.
Yeah, totally. Oh, man. Too funny.
That is funny.
Yeah.
So what's new? I mean, what's new with you and in your daily life from a motorcycle bike perspective, which is where we always seem to float through at one point or another in this call, or in a cloud go-to-market perspective? I'll let you answer.
I love how you're getting in front of it. You're like, look, he's going to talk about motorcycles.
It's inevitable.
He's done with it. Everything with motorcycles is good. It's
Mm.
I crashed the other week, like on Sunday, which was it was actually funny. I'm gonna
Okay.
digress for 2 seconds. I know you don't want to talk about this, but I have to talk about it.
I love it.
So what's the funniest thing? So this is actually have you guys, there's this movie called Apex. It's on Netflix. And there's like this song by Chemical Brothers, Go. Okay.
Oh, I
don't
saw
think
it. I
I've seen
haven't
that.
seen it yet. It seems like a pretty intense thriller.
It's a really good movie, actually.
Okay.
I bring it up only because like this song from the Chemical Brothers is like stuck in my head and it's in my Cardo. So I'm listening to this music
Yeah.
and it's on my mix and I'm on trails and like I literally was like, this song is awesome. And I kept playing it on repeat, you know? So for like about easily like 15, 20 minutes, I'm just going trail across road, trail across road, trail across road. And I'm just hitting like repeat. I'm like, again.
Yeah, the same
More.
song.
And the other part of my brain is like, buddy, you're just getting cocky. You need to dial it down. And the other part of my brain was like, shut up. We are in the zone, in the flow. Let's
The
go.
music is cranking. Keep driving. Let's freaking go. Right.
So I did a bunch of technical sections. I come up and I'm literally out. Like I can see the light. I'm out. I have to make this nice turn. So I go around a log. I go underneath like this low like tree that has fallen, and it kind of takes up this nice kind of smooth. And I just roll it on, and I am laughing as I'm doing this, and I'm like, this is the best. As I come around the corner, because like all the technical stuff is done as far as I'm concerned. I come around the corner, not expecting, because like the road is up ahead. And I'm like, this is awesome. I come around the corner, and there are like 3 huge trees down.
Oh no.
So I'm rolling it on, and so I'm like, this is it. We're done. And so hit the back brake, slide, bike goes down, I go down, the bike goes into the trees, and I'm kind of laying there for a second, and I'm like,
Ugh.
I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
okay.
nothing that bad actually happened.
So I get up and I'm still all fired up, and I'm like, dude, you got to chill out for a second. So I was like, I need something physical to stop myself from getting back on the bike and tearing off in the opposite direction. So I'm going through my pack, and I'm like, peanut butter cookie. I'm going to eat my feelings right now. And I had one of like grandma's cookies. And I was like,
you go.
I'm just going to relax for a minute. I'm just going to putter back. And the funniest part was getting into that section, there's this farmhouse that you have to pass.
Yeah.
And I'm ripping through this, this guy's like area to get to the trail. Just like, yeah. And here I come back like 5 minutes later, like
putting along, like
hello.
You go through the first time, you're like full chat.
Oh yeah, I was like,
And now you're like,
that sounds except for the fall at the end. That sounds awesome though. Like just to be trail riding, like something like that. I mean, that's again from the suburban guy. That's like I love your guys' story. I live nature vicariously through you guys.
Getting you on a bike, man.
So what's new in the cloud go-to-market world from your perspective?
Honestly, everything. Nothing's new per se. I think it feels though like things are starting to kind of things are starting to speed up. I think as I see it, I think the story for our connection to AWS or Google for that matter, I think for the most part hasn't changed all that much, right? But I think over the last easy 2 months, we've leaned so heavily into agentic go-to-market that I think what we're experiencing what a lot of other organizations are experiencing from what is that better together story. Because I think most people, their better together story hasn't really changed all that much. But now I believe like we are in the midst of really digging in, evaluating, revamping, and really focused on what agentic IAM, for us at least, means for that better together story with Google, with AWS. And I think, and why I bring this up is I think Google definitely AWS as well, but AWS in particular, I think all the hyperscalers are trying to figure out what marketplace, what drag, what consumption means for all of their agentic technologies that are attached to their infrastructure. Like, how do I know who's driving what consumption? Like, I have no idea. And I don't think they ever had a really good idea about it. But now I believe it's starting to become a real tight focus of they've got to figure it out, because I think over the next year and a half, we're going to see a lot of funding programs start to shift. And it's going to be, it always was, but I don't think they were measuring it very well. It's really going to be, are you driving agentic workloads? They're not going to care about just plain infrastructure. That's not moving the needle.
Well, that's the PRM thing from AWS all day, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, you have to, you have to implement that, and it essentially just spins out and tells you how much, how much you're spending of what. And the way to the heart for AWS is to say, I spin Bedrock. You know what I mean? Right? Like, you want to get to the heart of a AWS rep, you spin Bedrock. Right.
Well, I think that the thing too, though, with the PRM, which is interesting, is that even though you have to implement the PRM, I think the deadline for that is like July 1st or something. Even though you're implementing PRM, the deal of it is that right now the requirement is one workload. That's it. Yeah. So like they're still beta testing this with real live data. They still don't have an idea per se. I guarantee you, during reInvent, the whole world is going to shift.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're gonna, I think, get one workload up by July, and then that it's just like a volume knob. They're just gonna crank that forward, right, and then you're gonna see what. And it makes, I mean, you don't blame them. It makes a little bit of sense, right? They were giving away millions of dollars for these migration programs, and who knows how much it actually really drove consumption on the back end. They want to give you millions to get billions. That's what they say. But if they give you millions to only get millions, what are they doing, right? And so they had no way to track it until PRM. So it's pretty crazy that they're pushing forward on everybody on that, right? Kind of leading the charge on all of that stuff, right?
It is. I'm super curious on where it's going to land. I think for me, I'm very curious about where it's going to land, with funding, where it's going to land with programs. And I think there's another side of it too, is we're a mature organization, and we're all talking about this from a very mature organization in our life cycle. All of our organizations who we talk to a certain degree are exceptionally mature. I am curious what this is going to look like for net new organizations into the marketplace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, so thinking, let's say Series A, pre-seed.
I think it'll be easier, right? Because they'll build it in from day one, and I'm just saying, like, trying to go back to like an Okta and say, oh, go put these code strings into your code so it tells you what you spin. Okta's like, who are you? It's like so wound up in legal mess, like that's hard, right?
I agree and I disagree. I don't know. I mean, I think if you think
that's what we're getting pushback. We're not getting pushback. Series A are like, whatever, dude, do it. Let's get better funding, get better love from AWS. Public companies are like, hold the phone, buddy. Yeah. I
think companies that are in that like pre-seed Series A, I think they're in the mode of they're I don't think they're building partner infrastructure into their go-to-market as we would expect that they, if all three of us were to launch a company tomorrow, the deal of it is that for the most part, we would build in partner infrastructure straight away. And we try to be like partner led in that regard. But I think most startups, and I would love to get pushback on this, I'd be curious, do not think about partner infrastructure as part of their go-to-market. And they still don't completely get how and why do I apply marketplace and how do I incorporate that into scaling my organization.
Fair enough. They don't, but they are much, once they connect, and I am only speaking when they generally connect with Tackle. Once they connect with Tackle, they're wanting to move forward with AWS. We say, all right, here are the steps you need to go through. Here are the things you need to do to get to ISVA, and then to get into CSB and all this other stuff. That we tell them to do a PRM, they generally do it, right? It's a pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I look at like the Series A, the startups. I mean, they view marketplace as their channel, as the de facto channel, don't they? I mean, that's
right. Yeah.
Yeah, at least most that I come across, it's like, well, why do you want to go through marketplace? Well, because they represent a distribution channel. And I have all these, then it gets into the co-sell narrative. But in my experience, they've always been eager to adapt or adopt whatever policy the providers throw at them, because they want to get the lift of the co-sell machine. But I agree with what you're saying. Changing telemetry, changing anything with public companies or large organizations or legacy companies that have been in the marketplace for a long time, not an easy lift.
Yeah. And that's coming down soon as well. So co-sell has become really noisy, right? Because everybody's doing it in mass, registering deals everywhere, trying to have calls and chat. And I don't know where and when, but somewhere they're going to start ranking. They're going to put like I forget what the acronym is, but they're going to start ranking co-sales. Like, you need to meet 80% of these quality control for a registered co-sell before we will even let it through, right? Yeah,
quality of win is quality of win. Launched is meaningless, and then it's what are you driving with that marketplace transaction?
Yeah.
Because you're going to lose access, because they don't even have the headcount realistically to support. Because when you think about it, folks who have been doing a really good job of their co-sell, quote unquote, have done a really good job of saying, all right, this is all my pipe and I'm making it available to AWS. Great, let's engage. And that is crushing AWS account teams.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody wants the same thing that you mentioned. Everybody wants an audience with PSMs. Like, this is how we work together, because I think mature organizations view ultimately like AWS as a sales tool in a sense. So very well.
Competitive time for an AWS account rep is really, it's getting harder and harder to get. Yeah, for sure. So
what are you guys seeing, like, to kind of rotate a little bit in this whole SaaS apocalypse, like from a marketplace perspective? Is it just noise and headlines, or
broad
like
stock
our sales struggling and through
treating it well?
Right. You look at public SaaS and everybody's down like 60%.
Yeah, Salesforce is down like 60%. These are like really big companies that are getting absolutely hammered. But then the platforms that are built into it, like the CrowdStrikes, are crushing it, all-time highs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's all over the map. It's really, really interesting. So my take, I've had so many conversations about this between Australia and everywhere. Because Atlassian is from Australia, and so we chatted with them even, right? And they're really getting hammered. They're like 70-80% year to date or something like that. Which to me is almost like a buy. I'm like, everybody uses Fluence and Jira, right? It's not going away. It's ingrained in so many freaking things, right? But they're saying if you pay by the seat, there's not going to be as many seats, right? But I think the pendulum swings. What I keep kind of coming back to is like AI needs to make the majority of people more productive rather than replace the majority of people. So if you've got 1,500 people in your company, you're not going to go to 750 people and then add a AI, because there's so much work to do. You're going to keep the 1,500 people that are good, and you're going to add AI and act like you're 3,000, right? Like, do more. Like at AppDirect, we're not going to have less people do the same amount of work. We're going to have the same amount of people do more work, because there's no shortage of work to get done, to build.
Yeah.
But I think the pendulum has to swing. That's my own personal opinion. I think the pendulum has to swing back a little bit
it's interesting. I just saw
the need to be doing things, right?
Yeah. I just saw this morning, in fact, I think Sam Altman is in APJ, if I recall this article. But either way, the point that he mentioned was that they were way too aggressive in saying, white collar jobs in particular were going to be lost through AI. So he's walking that back. And everybody, he's walking back that statement.
Okay. Come back to
Yeah.
Right.
And I think there's use cases where it's really clear, like the developer productivity is order of magnitude better. Like, and we're working on it like firsthand. I'm even working on it. Right here, in fact, on my other machine. It's got two different agents that are like flipping through, a couple different use cases at the same time. So
But it's not
developer
replacing
productivity
you. Instead, it's making you more productive.
it is an augmentation. It's absolutely an augmentation. And even the workflows that we're looking at, it's all augmentation, like help people, like give someone the proverbial digital twin. But one doesn't replace the other. It's a strategy partner. It's a negotiating partner. It's, you feed it with purpose and use it to help you as a real person become more productive in your job. That's kind of what I'm seeing.
Let me ask you a question about the digital twin. I have this theory in my head. Do you think that concept of digital twin, I'm bought in on it. I really appreciate it. I like it. It makes sense for a number of reasons. But do you think it will evolve in a way that when you are hired, when you leave a company, you'll be able to take your digital twin with you? And all of that knowledge, all of that, and then reinsert that into your next organization.
No.
I mean, it depends on.
I don't think you do, because you don't take that. You don't take the model. You don't take. I mean, you take the knowledge of how you built prompts and did things, but you don't take that, right?
If you think about, if you decompose a digital twin, yes, it has domain knowledge. Like you're going to seed it with all different types of knowledge so that it can perform specific sets of tasks. Anything that is proprietary to your former employer, obviously that's
gone.
However, in this digital twin, there's a slot for private company specific, super confidential stuff. And you just go to your new employer and you just slot in a new set of knowledge. But your knowledge base that says, this is who I am, this is how I speak, this is how I write, this is my public persona, that all comes along with you, So I think it depends.
Yeah, and that's the piece that I'm thinking of. The element of this is my professional, semi-personal, whatever operating system. Yeah. And I'm bringing that with me to my new organization to enable me to come up to speed faster and be able to operate more cleanly, faster in the new organization. With how and even just super basic stuff. This is how I manage my calendar. This is how I review my emails. This is what I expect from myself, how I operate on the daily, and what my summaries look like. And because ultimately, regardless of where you go, your how you operate is pretty similar. You know what I mean? And you're looking for the same things and operating within the same tools. Very similarly, the proprietary information, totally get it.
But you have to build but let's say you create a digital twin that like does the registrations, like sends the email, coordinates the calendar. You have like a really cool digital twin that does all the grunt work. Like you still can't bring it with you. You can create the digital twin quicker, but you can't bring it, right?
Right. It's almost like able to bring it with me. I don't want to have to redo that my workflow.
That's what I'm saying. You're gonna have to redo that if you go to a new company.
Right. And I don't want to do that. Like I was saying, like I think there's gonna be an element of where it should evolve to a point where it's like you won't have to do that. You'll be able to unplug that and plug that in.
Yeah.
Knowledge. Right. Yeah.
It's almost like tackle in a sense, like when you leave. No one ever leaves tackle, of course, but just in theory, if you were to leave your provider, like what can you take with you, or what do you have a right to take with you, is all your data. Like you own your listing data, you own the content. It might have been crafted and curated through the platform, but what you cannot take with you is the construct used to create everything, all the wiring and the plumbing. So I'm actually thinking, as we talk about this, what does it mean if I'm an employee, I'm using my employer's license of Copilot, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever, and I'm building my digital twin under a license provided by my former employer? Can I rip out that code and take that with me? Can I export all the JSONs and just take it with me? I don't know.
I don't think so. Not now.
It's
Not yet.
yeah, it's probably going to be like everybody does anyways, right? I mean, a lot of people, certainly none of us, but a lot of people will tuck away files before they put in their notice. Not us.
That's insane.
Yeah, no, of course not. Some people some people will do such
I will
things.
tell you though, companies are, and I can speak, positively, I guess, from my experience, the like my kids who are in the market and young, they grow up with locked down machines.
Yeah.
Like both my kids they're in their 20s and they've never used iMessage on their work computer. They've never used AirDrop on their work computer. They've never used any of that stuff, right? Where I'm used to having one computer for everything. So now we've just gone through this change at AppDirect where our computers have gotten locked down. So I now have like 2 computers and it's really weird. Like we're not allowed to use ChatGPT on our work computer because they license this other tool. So you can't even if you have a personal setup, you're not allowed to install it on your work computer, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot more control going on there. I mean, now laptops, they know everything you're typing everywhere.
You do.
And they're watching everything, right?
It's interesting because like that like I think that is the part that it becomes just the whole shadow AI piece. You have this huge menu of tools of what everybody kind of wants to use and thinks they want to use, and then securing that. And then you have these really interesting pockets of the organization that it's not really shadowy. It's just like they actually have a license to use X tools, while another part of the organization does not have access to the same tools, but could use tools if they were aware of it. It's this really interesting paradigm of like functional security, right? And then awareness of everything that you could be using, depending upon whether or not you have a business case to use it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. It's really, I think everything, at least in our world, has to go through InfoSec in a pretty tight manner. And the number one thing they're trying to shut down is shadow IT. Yep. Anything you would buy for $20 a month on your own and put on. Now we have locked down Chrome and you can't install, extensions without having them be pre-approved and right.
Well, what you're talking about too is like like browsers, like corporate browsers like Island and things like that.
Yeah, we don't have Island yet, but I'm like, well, that's just coming next, right?
Oh, absolutely. When you start thinking about identities and thinking about key and security in that regard, and the access plane for that, like the use case for corporate browsers writes itself.
Yeah, totally. Which is why, Island was a great idea. 5 years ago, I was like, what? Now I'm like,
they were early. It was so funny. I was like, I don't know. That's insane. That's a witchcraft. We don't need that.
Right. What do I need that? Yeah.
I
just Chrome. So it's very interesting to me, getting used to those different. It's like I have a Chrome profile for work. Now I have a Chrome profile personally as well. Like those have always been the same for me up until a month ago. Like literally for 20 years, So that I just think that's where this stuff is going. You're working and you're working. You're not right. Watching what everybody's doing.
100%.
Which is what it kind of should be, and it's just morphed into you're always on. That's what I feel like. So it's actually not a bad thing, I think.
Right. Yeah, it is. You're always on. You're always kind of cranking. And I mean, to me, it actually makes it a little easier. Like when I go away, I don't bring my work laptop anymore. I just bring my personal laptop. And it's like, okay,
Well,
like,
I think it's how you're on. I think it's how you're on. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I know, like, for me, for example, and I think this is interesting. It's when I'm quote unquote off, right? And I'm no longer saying I'm using my work laptop, quote unquote, right? I'm on my personal laptop or my personal device, but I'm still consuming information, thinking about notes and thinking about everything that I have to do from a corporate sense. I'm just sort of like semi not plugged in. But I'm never like,
you're not on your machine, right.
Yeah, like I'm never off per se. I don't know what that means.
Really. Yeah, I mean, mine is kind of recent, so it's very top of mind. But I'm on my personal laptop yesterday, typing some stuff last night, and I'm like, oh, I got to shoot that thing to that person. Where's Slack? I'm like, oh, I got to go get on my other laptop to go Slack that person, right? So it's like, my other laptop to send a quick note. Like those shifts are just very weird. You know,
Or you do this weird thing where you then email something to yourself from your personal machine because you're like, I physically do not want to work right now, but I don't want to forget this thing. So I'm going to email myself.
right.
I can, you know, it's a weird shift.
Yeah. So,
That's
I
that's
think
funny.
AI
'Cause
is creating a lot of that, right? So it's just creating a lot because they don't want people pasting data into LLMs. They don't want them pasting a financial report and saying summarize this because they don't want those. They don't want kind of NDA data getting stuck out there and being built into the LLM. As soon as you paste it in and say summarize this for me, now it's got it, right?
Are people paying attention to those policies, do you think?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I can't even use ChatGPT, let alone anything I paste into even our own proprietary thing they call it devs.ai. Like they watch every single thing you paste in there.
That's like because DLP, for example, is like baked into everything now. Like they know where you're sending stuff. You can't send it. Yeah.
No. Google Drive, you can't export from Google Drive.
I can't even
my machine. Yeah. So anyway, good times, huh?
It is interesting stuff, though. I know. All right, well, good. I mean, we're kind of coming up. We kind of meander everywhere as usual, but
more motorcycles.
Anything, yeah. No, I like it. Like I say,
you seem so much like in some way, life is so much faster and more efficient and cool because there's these neat tools. And in some way, those of us who have been around for 15, 20 years are like, God, it's so much harder, dude. It used to be like, here's a MacBook, have at it, dude. Like, see you later. You know what I mean? Now it's like so controlled. It's like
everything in life, Denker. It was so much easier back then. You know, we've all seen those like TikTok type things. It's like we used to drink out of the fire, the garden hose when we were thirsty.
Right. Totally.
It's kind of funny.
Good times, man.
All right. Well, listen, man. I don't know unless you guys have anything else to throw or kind of throw out there. We
just need to get better at scheduling it. Hopefully, I'll be back in the East Coast by the next time we come around, and it'll be a little better because I do.
Are we all going to be at reInvent?
Yeah, I'll be at reInvent 100%. 100%.
Maybe I'll come out. Maybe I'll just take a day and come out just to record a session live.
Do live
with you guys.
Live session. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would love to do a live session and somewhere. So let's kind of do that, but also stick to a schedule. So we'll go offline and figure that one out. Do we have other ideas we wanted to do this year, like a guest? You mentioned, Muscleman. He's one who's weighed in on that. A couple others. We would like a live webinar.
One on like the personal operating systems, like using like Claude or Chat GPT. In a professional sense. I mean, I know it's a little bit different than, cloud go-to-market, but I think it would be
what makes up your digital twin?
Yeah.
Dude, I would love that because this is what I do now. Like, and I just sent you guys a text. If you check your phone, I'd love to go into the digital cloud go-to-market team that I have. I don't want to drain it on this call, but I love that idea. And just like best practices, hear what you guys are hearing, and I would offer kind of the things that I'm guiding people to do, and that I do, to kind of like replicate that digital twin we talked about earlier. So love that as a topic.
Oh, I've got best practices. I've got ideas.
Yeah, totally. I'm not my digital twin is a little stunted right now. Yes.
Yeah, we'll get your digital twins on that. All right, well, cool. We got some good topics. We also talked about doing like a live stream once, so we could let our nine followers know and do a live stream once.
Do one of these. But any event, I just enjoy chatting with you guys, hearing the different things. So
actually, what's really interesting about that is I was in Google Next doing one of our happy hours. And I don't know where this person either read a post or came from the podcast. I don't necessarily know per se, right? But I was in the happy hour talking, and this dude walks up to me. He's like, "Hey, Amin, you don't know me, but I've read some stuff and da-da-da." And I was like, "This is so weird."
You're like, where did you hear about me?
Yeah, like where, like why? Like it was a very surreal moment because like you're so used to like being a regular human. I mean, minus you, Anchor, because everyone knows who you are. But generally, for us humans, you know, we're not celebrities. For someone that you don't know to come up to you and be like, "Hey, you don't know me, but I've read this or done that, and I saw you here," is a very interesting.
You're like, oh, hello. Was it a
Yeah.
good experience or a bad experience?
Yeah, like, what do I say to you?
That is kind of funny. Kind of funny, surreal, funny.
It's like in your hat, it's like, stay cool. Amin Marks.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Well, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, dude, in New York for sure. I'll let me know if you're coming in for the day on Wednesday. Let's grab a half hour or whatever, say hi. That'd be fun. So
Yeah, absolutely.
around.
All right, guys. Good seeing you. Good catching up as well.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.